What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Doug, the Comic Collector Coach, back from a long hiatus. And what better way to do it than to have an interview with a writer and artist who's quite frankly blown my mind. But let me go ahead and bring him out, Mr. John Mungiello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
John, thanks for being here. Appreciate your time on a Saturday
Yep.
evening, and everybody else for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right into it here. You've shown up on Musings podcast with James, and then you recently did an interview with Mr. McGroovy over on his channel with People with Issues.
Yep.
So for the people who maybe haven't discovered you yet, and this is the first time they're seeing you, take us through your origin story. How did you get into comics, and what made you decide to jump into being an artist and writing?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I drawing, I kind of always have done. But I was actually talking to my wife the other day, and I remembered the first person I think I ever copied their art was my mom, actually, because she used to draw a lot, and I remember seeing her sketchbook from when she was a kid. And I remember actually taking it to school and pretending I did the drawings. But as I got older, I started copying them. So I think that's really the first thing. But first thing in comics was the Eric Larson Spider-Man run for the Sinister Six. I got that issue from Spider-Man himself at the comic store. And I remember, I was blown away by like the intensity of it. I was a little afraid of it too, I think, but it intrigued me. So I started copying the drawings and learning from them. And Punisher Warzone's coming out at the time.
Yeah.
And the Hulk from Gary Frank. Sorry, I was blanking on that one.
Sure.
I copied all of those as well. So that was the beginning of drawing for me. And then I just started noticing I got attention for it at school, and I never really got much of that. So I started seeing that there was some power there. So I think that kind of brought me into it more. I just kept going and going. And it was the only thing I was ever really good at. So that's the other reason I did it.
Right.
All the daydreaming actually was, worth it for drawing. So, and then after that, I got really heavy into fine art after college, after high school. So I decided to study that in art school, which was good because it does teach you to think about art a little bit differently, which I think I needed at the time. Which helps, especially for indie comic books, I think, even more than anything. But around that time, I was also reading all of Frank Miller's stuff, and kind of toward the end of high school, it was Sin City, Book 4, The Yellow Bastard. That was the first graphic novel I ever read, and it blew me away. I was reading it at work when I was at GameStop. I remember my manager let me sit on the floor, and I read it as he actually worked, and it was great. And I never kind of forgot it. And I started trying to make a comic book that week, I remember, but it just looked like a bad Frank Miller book. So, and around that time, I read Dark Knight Returns, which blew me away too, and Crow. And that's when I kind of got hooked into the indie black and white stories, which is now what I did.
Right. Yeah, those are definitely some of the big titles still even today. And it's, for the time that those came out, there wasn't really anything else like them, especially the Crow and Batman had never been done that way, like Frank Miller did. And Sin City, certainly there was nothing like that before. And not much like that since, really. I mean, there's some stuff that you can kind of lump in the same genre, but it's not the same.
No, it was so visceral, and the artwork was just this perfect blend of cartooning and realism, and I loved it. I still do.
Yeah,
I still look at them all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a big Sin City, big Frank Miller fan in general, but Sin City was definitely one of the bigger titles that he's done that I've really enjoyed. So then from there, you mentioned, getting into fine art and that's what you majored, that's what your degree is from in college, right? Is you majored in fine art?
Yeah. And mostly with I really studied painting a lot on my own and in school.
Sure.
And I got really into that, which I do see it helping the artwork now, actually, when I'm inking and things, kind of comes out. and in the textures of everything. So I'm
Sure.
glad I did that. But around that time though, I started rereading comic books like senior year of college, and I think I said on Paul's thing, but I used to kind of I would hide them because nobody really understood
Sure.
comic books in the fine art world. It was kind of like reading a dirty magazine in public. It felt like so I used to kind of hide everything. But I was reading Batman and Robin from Grant Morrison at the time.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of came across some new indie stuff that came out from Craig Thompson's Blankets and Jeff Lemire's Essex County and Matt Kint's work. I kind of was consuming all of that at the same time, and I was like,
Sure.
there's a home here for me, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but I was too afraid to start. So that was the problem.
Sure. Well, so on that note, then, what is it that made you jump in? You just start drawing and start forming a comic book. What made you start doing that?
Yeah, well, I remember it clearly. I attempted writing one actually when I got out of school, and I did, and I drew a few issues of it, like 3 issues of it. The drawings were really bad. The writing was okay. And I posted it on Comixology when they were doing that at the time.
Sure.
Before Amazon took it over.
Right.
And they were up there, and I had them there, and then I kept trying to redraw issue 4, and I just kind of hit a roadblock. I think I understood that I needed to get better at writing and drawing to really pull it off. So I kind of just like stopped, and I decided I wanted to be a teacher. Not just because I wanted to get paid to do something, but because I generally wanted to help kids and also have an income. So I started doing that. And to do that at all, well, you have to really focus on it. So I started really focusing on that and just getting my life in order, to be honest with you. And then it was when I was teaching, I started feeling like I wanted to get back into it, but I started writing a lot of poetry, actually, just on the side because it was quick. And I realized I think I was actually training myself to get better at writing in short kind of visual ways, which is exactly what a comic book is. So I self-published a poetry book with some cartoons, which is up on Amazon still if anybody likes that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah. And around that time, I think COVID, either it hit or it was right before it did. I can't totally remember. But I had a student, and she was asking me, telling me that she was confused, didn't know what to do with the rest of her life, and was afraid. And I told her, I was like, well, whatever it is that you're doing, and you see the time is moving by really fast when you're doing it, and you look up and it's like 4 hours passed and you didn't notice. And I was like, that's the thing you should probably do for a living in some way. And then I realized that I was doing that in part, but there was this whole other side to me, which is the art person, which really is who I am, that I was not nurturing at the time at all.
Right.
And I went home and I read, I think I was reading Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I came home and I told my wife, I was like, I'm doing this. I need to give it a real try. So, and that's it. The next day I wrote Crawler, which is what I'm working on right now, actually.
Awesome.
And I just started drawing tons of pinups and getting better and kind of relearning comic book art again and seeing how I can mix my two sides, my fine art, my poetry, my comics.
Yeah.
And then people started catching on, and there's some great people that have been patroning me since then and still are. And I started getting confidence a little bit, and then that was it. And then I found a publisher, did it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I dabbled in poetry in high school and a little after that, and I got some things published. Nothing in big publications, but
that's awesome.
It could definitely be poetry. Is definitely it's an easy entry into writing, and it only sharpens your skills. So I definitely can agree with you there.
I think having to condense like a big feeling into such a small space is like first really good practice for writing because you trim all the fat out. But for comic books, it's especially that each page is like, to me, like a little stanza of a poem that then builds,
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Let's take a second here and just say we had a couple of people here contribute to the chat already. We got let's see here. We got Yusa from Thing Comics. He's a buddy of mine in Finland. He's
Hey.
a few hours ahead, so he says he's gonna. If he's not awake, he's gonna catch it on the rewind. We got Dope Comics here. Dope, what's going on, man? And then
Hey.
Art of Victor Medina. That's a name I think you
Vic.
spent some time drawing with him on the Sunday show.
Yeah, Vic's amazing too.
And Dope says that he's got Gideon Falls in his read stack now.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I haven't read that one. I've read some stuff from Lemire. The stuff that he did on his Moon Knight run was really interesting. It was a really kind of a different. They really kind of dove deep into the insanity part of Moon Knight, and it was a good arc.
Yeah, he always finds a way to get to like the heart of the character and what they're going through emotionally, and that's what I always connect with. Whatever he's doing, really, to be honest.
Yeah. He's definitely somebody to follow. He's been writing some good stuff for a while.
Yeah, he was really nice too. I met him at New York Comic Con last year, actually, and it was like I was really nervous because it's like my hero, but his kids were sick, and he stayed just for a few minutes so he could sign everybody's stuff, and I went up to him, and it was a short thing, but I felt yeah, it was great.
That's cool. Yeah. And you mentioned that you had some other supporters in the industry. Tell me about one of them. I believe one of them we'll get to your book Eve here in a minute, but one of them, pretty big name in the industry, gave you a little blurb for the book.
Yeah, that was I feel like I could just like stop my whole life and be happy with that. It's not every day that a person that inspires what you do actually likes what you do, so that's pretty cool.
You're right. So for anybody who's not familiar with who I'm referencing here, Daniel Warren Johnson gave a blurb on the back of John's book Eve. That's probably mirrored, it's probably backwards, but he said wild, bold, bloody, and beautiful about this book Eve, which we'll go ahead and transition into that. So as I was telling you before, I kind of discovered you from Jason over at Nerdy Musings podcast. You guys do he does a Sunday night live drawing with, there's a handful of guys on there, Travis from Comics Limited and Big Me McFly, and you've been on there several times, and Yevgeny Sokolov, and I think Victor Medina has been on there. So I happened to jump in on the tail end of one show and saw your artwork. And James had said, "Hey, we're just wrapping up. We're just talking about John's book. You should go check out John's book." And I did. And man, from the second that I read the synopsis and looked at your art, I was blown away by this.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're not familiar with John, and whether you're watching this live now or on the rewind, we're going to talk about Eve. This thing is awesome, and your one-man show on this. You wrote it, you drew it, you lettered everything, and that can't. I imagine that can't be easy. So, talk to me about how long did it take you from start to finish to manage all that, to get this all into a finished product?
Yeah, and definitely it's doing it in between like working full time, which too. Is hard, but it makes it worth it.
Right.
So I started I was working on Crawler, the one I'm working on now, and then I think it's in the back of the book. I think I put it in there. There was like a little pinup I did of the character with the Krampus head that he's holding it, and I just did it as a joke, like a Christmas card that I emailed to people that I either that I liked or helped me or my friends, and I sent it to my editor. Yeah, that one. And he liked it, but we were just talking. He's like, maybe there's a story here. And I was like, I think I do kind of have something. I didn't know what it was, but I was feeling something. So he said, well, let's do it. So I was like, okay. So I sat down and I wrote it in like a day or two. I took the day off of work and I wrote it.
Nice.
And then I edited it like a good amount to change things. And even when I was drawing it, I was still cutting and pasting and everything. But so it took about 2 years to fully write, draw, letter, scan.
Wow.
That was the worst part. Scanning
so
horrible.
So really a labor of love then. 2 years to stick with it and
Yeah.
get it to how you wanted it. And
Yeah.
when you wrote it, when you wrote the original draft of it, was it this long?
No, so actually, it was, we said that we would do it as like a one shot, like a 40-page,
Okay.
40-page one shot special. But I just kept writing it, and it got longer and longer, and the characters wanted more time. And I started finding different like little connections between other characters, and
Sure.
I couldn't stop doing it. And to their credit, he's just like, yeah, just whatever, do whatever you want. So I said, okay.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad
I
that
cut down probably like 10 pages of it when I was drawing it, just for momentum.
Right.
It kind of broke, but other than that, yeah, it got a lot longer.
Well, I'm glad that you not only stuck with it, but kind of allowed it to blossom organically and become what it is. Because I'm gonna show a couple of pages that hopefully don't spoil the story. But a couple of things that I really like about this and your art style in general is just your the way that you kind of your use of black, like how you like these two pages are facing each other, and then on the one page you got some very detailed, character drawing, and then the very next page it's like almost like you started with a black page and this kind of wiped away what didn't need to be there to tell the story, and it really the whole book is this way, and it just flows really beautifully. And then the other thing too that I like is like this here, you make a good contrast of the border here is white because you got the panels, and then on the next page, like the panels, they're not so much bordered, but the black is, and I like that. I also like that there's no page numbers on here to get in the way of the art. Was that by design?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome because this is one of my favorite pages. I gotta show this.
Yeah, like that was fun.
This is an awesome page, and I couldn't get full disclosure, everybody. I couldn't get my webcam to cooperate, so I'm doing this from my phone. And this phone camera is not doing the justice. I'm telling you, you got to check out John's art. So, side note there, I do have his website and his Instagram where you can find him. I have him linked down in the description below, so definitely check him out. But and then give us a quick synopsis. I don't want to, if I get carried away, I'll spoil the story. So give us a quick synopsis of Eve, what it's about, and that's all right. You're the writer. If you want to spoil it a little bit, I'm okay with it. I just don't want to spoil it. But give us a little quick synopsis of it, and then so what everybody can expect from the story itself.
Yeah. Well. So the short version, the easy version, it's a story of the origin story of Mrs. Claus, Santa Claus, and Krampus. And Mrs. Claus, or Eve, goes missing, and then Santa goes to get her back. But the actual story is really, it's kind of, to me, it's about a marriage of a person that gave up everything so someone else could do what they wanted to do, and in doing so, kind of lost her identity from it. And I did that on purpose, because if you think about it through history, Santa Claus is like 100 different names, but Mrs. Claus doesn't even have one. So
right.
So I'm going to give her an actual character and personality. But yeah, it's really about that kind of marriage, and then through the losing something, they started realizing the importance of that thing and how to get that back. So yeah, I
don't think I could have said it better. Just to throw a little gravy on top of that for anybody who's interested in reading it, if you haven't, it's Santa like you've probably never seen him before. And like you said, giving story to this figure that we are all very familiar with, but like you said, doesn't even have a name other than Mrs. Claus, right? And historically, so giving her own story and really kind of, beginning, middle, end, you really put a nice bow on it. It's one cohesive package, and I feel like the story is told in its entirety, and it's the art only helps the story, and and that's really cool, because a lot of times you either get good writing and mediocre art, or you don't feel the story in the art, or maybe the art's kick ass and the story, the writing is meh, but you're engaged because, colors and things go on. So the fact that you were able to marry the two into like a cohesive, really good story, it's probably one of the best things that I've read in the last couple of years for sure. Comic books, novels, whatever, because I read, actual novel books as well, and this is better than a lot of that as well.
Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So then, with Eve in mind, I know I said you tied the story together, you put a nice bow on it, you can read it from cover to cover and feel like you're satisfied that you got a whole story. So that in mind, you're not going to revisit these characters anytime in the future, are you?
No, I there was I have a vague idea of maybe with the villain, but I don't want to do anything because I feel like it works as it is.
Hey, don't mess with perfection, right?
Yeah. And then I have so many other ideas and things that I want to play in a little bit, so I'd rather go to that first. But if it happens, I'm open to it. But I'm only open to it if there's an actual idea that's good.
Right. Don't just do it to do it. Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. And I oftentimes I think when someone does do that, whether it's an artist or a writer or somebody who does both like yourself, they have this successful thing that happens. And then later they're like, I'm just going to tinker with this just because. And then a lot of times it doesn't turn out very well.
No.
And then you get a fan base that's conflicted. It's like, well, the early stuff was so good and this other stuff wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think keeping it, consistent is the key.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's why I always loved I wouldn't want to read Blankets Part 2 from Craig Thompson. It makes no sense.
Right.
Just pick another book,
right. Just pick a different thing.
Yeah.
And make a new story.
And in our world now, it's all reboots, prequels, sequels. How can I make a long series out of this? And it's really it's super cynical because it's just for money. It's not for creativity.
Correct. Right. Yeah. I think some of the biggest culprits of that are production companies that have been around a long time, like Disney. In the last 10 years or more, I guess. But they've been taking classic hits.
Yeah.
And remaking them as a live action, which, let's face it, most of the time it's 50% or more.
Live action.
Yeah, it's 50% or more, visual effects and CGI or motion capture.
And just with The Rock actually there.
Are you giving us something we really wanted, or are you re-gifting us something that we've seen and loved as kids? Some of us maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not really. I'm not super turned on by the whole live action remake thing, or most reboots in general.
I don't really feel it either. It's just if it worked, it worked. Make a new idea that works. Right.
The only caveats
to that, I think, in the world, during I feel like the 90s and 70s, especially with movies, I think. Yeah.
I think that there are some caveats to that. Obviously, I think the Spider-Man films with Tom Holland, even though it's technically a different universe and we don't have to go and get into all that, but if you look at them as a reboot on their own, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, I am, being a child of the 80s, I am looking forward to the Masters of the Universe movie that's coming out.
Yeah. But I feel like there wasn't this classic movie, that's just
Right. So the bar was set pretty low with the Dolph Lundgren movie in the 80s, which on its own is an interesting and entertaining film.
I love it, by the way. Yeah.
But it does not give you the Masters of the Universe vibes that this one looks like it's going to bring to the table. So I'm looking forward to that.
I felt that way with actually the Daredevil show. I feel like that's definitely hitting the mark, and Punisher's pretty good too.
Yeah. So, well, again, especially if you could pair the show to, not that there's much of a comparison, but to the early 2000s movie with Ben Affleck and, again, on its own, the movie's fine. I go back and watch it here and there. But the show is just echelons better. It's in its own lane doing its own thing, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so no plans to revisit the characters in Eve, which I think is probably a smart decision unless it organically happens for the right reasons. So
Yes.
talk to me about Crawler without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've been working on that even longer than
Yeah.
Eve. So
Yeah.
what's kind of the synopsis of Crawler, and when can we expect to see it?
Yeah. So hopefully I'm gonna finish up. I'm on the last issue of the Deadly Dozen book that I'm drawing on like page 9 right now, so I'm almost there. So once that's done, I'm gonna go full steam back into Crawler, but it's fully written. I got about 30 pages drawn, and I'm
Oh wow,
roughing out as I go, and I'm kind of like retooling some of the character designs because
sure.
since it was so long ago, I feel like I learned some things after Eve, so I'm gonna fix things. But that one was cool because so that started as a short story, which was my first attempt back at doing a full comic, actually, and it was just kind of more of like I would say like a visual poem, like a 15-page thing, which I do want to put in the book so everybody can see where it came from.
Sure.
It's kind of just like a body horror monster story, but then it started turning into something else, and I started feeling some empathy for this kid, and I made him younger and younger, and then I got an idea for his father's character, and then that's when it started taking off. It's sort of my version of the Incredible Hulk, I think,
Sure.
but different enough. So yeah, so it's about this kid who his mother dies. That's not a spoiler; it's part of the story. Um,
Sure.
and he has these he kind of turns into this creature, not exactly like the Hulk, but and has these he's kind of strong and kind of a monster, and then his father's a general for this private military thing. He locks him up and they're experimenting on him to kind of figure out what this is so they could use it, and then he breaks out. And then he meets this little girl and her family, and they're going through some things, and he uses his powers to help them, and so on and so forth. I don't want to give too much more away.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely. Yeah, no,
but
I'm hooked already. So don't keep
yeah,
going because
I was
I'll
very
just listen
inspired
to you.
by the by the Incredible Hulk television show. Is something my dad got me onto when I was a kid. The no, not the cartoon, the live action with Bill
The Lou
Bixby.
Ferrigno and
Yeah, yeah, and I
Bill
loved
Bixby.
yeah, I loved how like I still do. Honestly, I watch it still. I loved how sad it always was, but at the same time,
Sure.
like this roaming and going from town to town and always helping people, even though he didn't have to. That's kind of
Sure.
what I wanted to do with this book. So, but a little more timely. And I was also going through some health issues at the time, with autoimmune diseases and stuff, and I feel
Sure.
like it kind of came out of that where I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and that's sort of what is wrong with him. He doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked that show as a kid. You know, it was over by the time I was born and was, old enough to really watch it. But I remember watching it in, in syndication, I guess, where I just was like, oh man, he changes into the
Yeah.
giant green guy. And then the only thing that show as a kid, I had trouble understanding, but like the end credits was always him just walking down the road for like
Yeah.
5 minutes. And I was like,
I love that
God.
song and
But as a kid, I just got so impatient because if I knew
yeah.
if they were playing one or like more than one episode in a row in that block of
Yeah.
time on TV, I was like,
Yeah.
just skip this part and go to the next episode.
Oh,
But
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, when
that was a great show, and that turned me into being a huge Lou Ferrigno fan.
yeah, same here.
How could it not, right? I mean, the dude was, I
Yeah.
think, in his late 20s or mid 20s when he started doing that.
Yeah, yeah. He seems
And
like a nice guy too. So.
yeah, I've heard only good things.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crawler sounds awesome, and I think that I'm looking forward to as soon as you could get it done. I mean, by no means
Definitely.
rush. I want it to be if it's even more polished than Eve, then you've got another home run on your hands for sure.
Thanks, man.
But
it'll
yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
be longer. I feel like it's definitely going to be in the 200s at least, probably.
The page count.
Yeah, maybe even 3. I don't fully decide that until I'm actually drawing like fully pencil.
Sure.
Because it starts changing. I might want to extend the action a little bit or add a dialogue scene or whatever, or cut stuff too. But I have a feeling it'll be around that.
Yeah. No, I mean, if like I said, if you stick to the same process that you did for Eve, and it organically becomes, doubles in size from what you had in your head to on the page, I don't think anybody's going to complain, because you're going to have a good story on your hands.
Thanks,
so you mentioned another body of work that you're working on, the Deadly Dozen. Now that's not your own creation, right?
No, that's so that's like work for hire kind of work. They're Lev Gleason's the publisher, and they're also gonna put Crawler out as well. And that's their like established characters already under their house. And one of the characters is actually Daredevil, who I found out from Paul that is I never even knew, but he's like the original Daredevil, which is kind of cool. I didn't realize that I'm doing that, so that was kind of fun. He was like,
that's cool.
He looks a little bit different, but I think he came out in like the 40s, maybe in Canada.
Oh wow! Okay.
I wonder if that's part of the inspiration of our Daredevil. I don't know, but
I'm really not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know that it's widely been written down or interviewed when Stan Lee was still with us, where the inspiration for Daredevil came from in particular. I mean, there's probably more than one source, but
I would say so too. Yeah, definitely. But when I draw him, I'm pretending it's Daredevil. So
sure, of course.
But I didn't write that one. That someone else wrote that one, and I got hired to pencil it, and then I'm inking it as well, because I just ink my own work.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I think it's getting colored, which I'm not going to do.
That was my next question: is this one going to be in color? Because I think one of the beautiful things about Eve, and I'll show a couple more pages here just to showcase your talents and the blacks and whites and everything. But one of the things that's beautiful about Eve is that just the emotional tone that black and white gives to the story. It only helps it. And I think if this book was in color, it wouldn't take anything away from it, but I just don't think it would have the same impact. You know what I'm saying? Like it would still be well written. The art would still be great, but some of these pages that are, let me see if I can find a really good one. Here we go. This one's
Crawler's going to be black and white for sure.
This is another of the pages that I think is just incredible.
That was fun. Fun fact on that page, the quote, the quote up at the top there. I actually I made that up. I wrote it myself, and that's one of my grandpa's name for my mom's side.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it just was like, there's a little poem in my head. I was like, it kind of works, so let me just give it to someone else. It's in that world. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely.
But Crawler will be black and white, but the Deadly Dozen will be colored. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and I think you said that's 4 issues. The Deadly Dozen.
Yeah. It's kind of like a fun Suicide Squad-y sort of forming of their gang kind of book. I know they're going to take it further than this. Sort of like the setup. Story,
I gotcha.
But that's a weird one too, because I started that actually before Eve also, and I stopped everything when I was doing Eve. So you could see the artwork gets better each issue. And it's very different now than it was in issue 1. So I hope it still works, but it might be cool.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. When is that slated to be published? The Deadly Dozen.
They didn't actually give a date yet. I'm just gonna try to get it done by the summer, and then I'll turn it in, and we'll see from there. Yeah. I didn't really have a strict deadline on it, so which was good and bad.
You're right. Yeah. So does that mean, and you may not know, and I don't want to hold your feet to the fire for anything that you're not supposed to say, but does that mean that all 4 of those issues are going to be done at the same time, like printed and published at the same time, or are they going to stagger them a little bit?
I don't know fully. I think they're going to stagger them. They wanted it to be fully like drawn though before anything starts coming out. And then once I'm all done with the ink and the drawing, and then they'll send them to the colorist, and then stagger them. Yeah,
sure,
most likely. Crawler, he was saying the other day, once I'm done, like probably around like 3 to 6 months after for publication. So it takes a while.
That's cool.
Which I didn't realize. It took like a year and something. It's crazy. That part I am learning about now.
Right. And so then from start to finish with Eve, the whole process you said was about 2 years. And this came out.
Add a third year because of the publishing part.
Right. So really, you started working on this then in 2023 or 24?
Yeah, 2023, I believe.
Okay.
And Crawler was 2022. So there's a good gap there. That's why I'm reading some of the designs.
Yeah. And then Eve also just was available for purchase in this past November, correct?
2025 Black Friday. Yeah.
Okay, so it really hasn't been that long in the grand scheme of things. No. It's relatively still a pretty new book.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. Well, then let's talk about Crawler some more. So you gave us kind of the synopsis, and again, sounds like an interesting, cool story. Is Crawler something with as long as it sounds like it's going to? Well, as long as it is now, and potentially how long it sounds like it could be by the time it's finished, is that something that if it's received well and you feel good about it, that you would continue that character in the future?
No.
And, no, you're just going to leave it all on the table?
Yeah, you'll find out at the end of the book.
Okay.
But no, same thing. It really came to me in like one shot. It's like this one thing. But it makes sense because when I was talking to you about the stuff I always liked, it was always one story, one book, graphic novels usually, more than anything. Yeah, and I loved that about it. And then I would move to the next one, or just reread it if I liked it enough. Like I've read The Crow about like 100 times.
Yeah, it's easy read, and you kind of feel the same way each time you read it. So I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
I love it. Yeah. I feel like I grow with it. Yeah.
You're right. And the older I get, the less now I'm drawn to, monthly issues of things, especially if I'm not super invested in it, or if I just don't have time and my read stat grows and grows and grows. I've kind of taken more now to I'll read maybe the first couple issues of something, and if I like it, I'll just stop.
Yeah.
And I will wait for the trade.
Same.
And
Same.
I like being able to pick up a story in one binding and from start to finish get the whole story without having to stop and wait. There's a few that I still keep on my pull list and I read month to month, and they're not so exciting that I just can't wait. It's but like when a good story like Eve or like what Crawler sounds like it's shaping up to be comes along, I don't want to stop. I want to read it from start to finish. So I think doing like a one-shot trade is the I think that's the right call.
Yeah, it always, because even when I was reading continuity, like especially with Scott Snyder's Batman stuff, on that, well, still actually, Absolute Batman's the only one that I'll go and buy. But that stuff I was reading, like every issue every month, and I just like hated it because I forgot what happened, and then I had to reread it anyway, and like it broke the flow of a good story, which had a lot of flow. And then when I read the graphic novel versions of it, it was like, oh, this is amazing, it's great. And I read like the whole entire thing in a week. And I love that feeling of being with this one thing for a couple hours or however long it takes, and you get that full experience, that full feeling,
right?
Like a song or a poem or a movie, I think, which is nice.
Yeah,
you don't need to watch 100 movies to understand it beforehand, or like
right. It's got on with no context on its own. It stands on its own 2 feet, and it's got a lot of weight and it's and clarity. Yeah, I like that. I mean, there's been books that comic books that I picked up and I've read 1 or 2 issues, and then just whether it was didn't fit in the budget the next month, or maybe it didn't grab me like to the point where I was like, oh man, I can't wait for the next issue, so I forgot about it. And then I've gone back and I've read maybe on somebody else's recommendation, oh, you got to check out XYZ and it's so great, and then I'll pick up the trade instead of chasing down all the individual issues, and I'll get through the trade. I'll think, man, why did I stop reading this? It's so good. But that's an experience you don't get, when you're waiting month to month for the newest issue, and when you're able to go back and get the trade and read something like Saga. I remember when Saga came out,
That's
really
awesome.
well done. Beautiful book. The art's great. The story's just fantastic. Didn't read it when it was on stands.
Yeah, same.
Didn't really know much about it. Same thing with Invincible. Now I'm going back and I'm reading all these.
Same.
With
I just started that recently. Yeah.
and Saga, I'm like, I'm kicking myself. Yeah, I'm kicking myself. I'm like, this is really good. I should have read this, 15 years ago when it was new.
It is really good.
And Invincible's the same way. Like I enjoyed the cartoon, so I started finally picking up Invincible books. But the trade or the compendium's the way to go, because you get everything, or as much as close to everything you can in one binding, and then those Invincible issues. Let's be honest, the market's not coming down anytime soon. So
no.
I'm not going to chase individual issues.
No,
to get the story.
I did the same with the Walking Dead. I would wait for compendiums to come out, and I did buy like Compendium 1. I read it. Waited for Compendium 2. Read it, but it felt like still like a really full story.
Right, because there's a lot.
I finished the 4th one though. I did not finish the whole story.
And Walking Dead is one of those where it kind of blew up so fast, and then the TV show I think outpaced the comics.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And so, and I haven't, to be honest, I think I've maybe read like 1 or 2 issues of Walking Dead at the early stages of it. But I did like the show. And so I think I got turned off from going back and trying to read the comics. Just because the show, I enjoyed the show so much. And I was like, well, what if it's so like vastly different?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Now I don't enjoy it.
I liked the show, but I had a hard time with it, and I haven't finished the show because I started reading the book first. Actually, it was weird. Yeah, I had the. I should
have done that.
Yeah, I should have done that. It just kind of. Actually, honestly, just seeing a black and white comic on the stand, so I was like, "Oh, this looks kind of cool." Let me get that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And so, on that note, let's just say, everything comes together for you. And if Eve was ever optioned for something, would you be on board with that, being on the screen for people to watch instead of just read?
Yeah, but actually the only, as an animation, I would be okay with it.
Yeah, I was going to say it would have to be animated.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that as a movie or anything. No, animation I think would be pretty cool though.
I think if they did it, in a way that it flowed kind of like, did you watch the what was that, Predator?
I haven't seen that. No, I want to though.
Now I can't remember the name of it. But the one that came out on Hulu that was animated, they did a pretty good job with that. And I feel like Eve would fit in a similar style to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would look really cool that way, actually. And honestly, if I had the time, I would do it myself. But
you're right.
That's too much drawing.
Have you ever done any animation in your art journey, or just painting?
Yeah, just for fun kind of thing. And I had to teach it a little bit randomly.
Sure.
Just gave it to me. And I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. So I figured out enough to get like, little bits. And actually for Eve, I did, it's like 8 seconds long, but a little animation on my Instagram to promote it when it came out. It's just a very quick, like he's slashing the axe and it kind of comes up on the screen. But yeah.
That's cool. I missed that. I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, it's fun.
But now, is that something that Lev Gleason being the publisher, is that something that they could, be in your corner for to get that optioned as an animation?
Yeah, I believe so. They have the rights for like 7 years, I think it was something.
Oh, wow.
And then it comes back to me fully. But in that time, they could help with that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll keep my fingers crossed, because that would be that. Yeah, I was going to say that would blow my socks off.
Yeah, you remember the Spawn cartoons from the HBO?
Yeah.
I could see it like that in my head. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool too. Yeah. I feel like that show I only saw. I don't recall that it lasted very long.
I think it was like 3 short seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't see much of it because I didn't have HBO as a kid.
I saw it when I was older.
But I had friends that had it, and I saw 1 or 2 episodes, and remember seeing like I've never seen anything like this. I
Yeah,
think
it
that
was
show
so
was
cool.
maybe a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It had like the anime influence, and it was very
Hmm.
violent and like it
Yeah.
feels like
No,
something
yeah, they
that
didn't
should
hold
have come
back for
out
sure.
now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Exactly. Yeah, I
crazy.
think if it had come out now, it'd be, probably just as successful, maybe get more than three
Mm,
seasons.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
They should bring it
that's,
back.
hey, Todd McFarlane's still around. He could make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be awesome actually.
Um, so talk to me about some. You did mention some of your creative inspiration growing up as a kid. Like your
Mhm,
mom and
mhm.
but who were some of the larger, maybe some of the bigger names that everybody
Mhm.
knows? Like you can't pick up a comic book and not know who
Yeah,
Jack Kirby is or something like
yeah,
that. So who were
yeah,
some of the bigger names that were inspirations to you to
yeah, yeah.
grow up and
Well,
decide to be an artist?
definitely. For comics, definitely Frank Miller, James O'Barr, who did The Crow, and
Yeah,
recently though, it's for me. It was like Jeff Lemire, Matt Kint also is very inspiring to me because he did
sure.
it does everything himself. He's also a really nice guy that kept in touch, which is cool.
That's
Um,
awesome.
And right now, Daniel Warren Johnson, I think, is doing all the best stuff I'm
Yeah,
seeing and reading.
I'm a big
So
fan of
yeah,
his for sure.
yeah, definitely.
His his
Um,
uh his work on the Transformer series
yeah, it's
uh
awesome.
is I mean obviously he's not writing it now, but it's still just as good. I mean, as when
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
writing it and doing the covers and yeah,
yeah.
he's
I gotta
he's
check
a
the new ones. I read his parts, but I haven't read the new ones that are coming out.
oh, it's
Yeah,
it's great. It's really
I'll
good.
check it out. But Eric Larson was huge for me when I was a kid,
Sure.
and I still honestly, I was just talking to someone about him because he it's the way he drew his characters. They were like it was within some realism. They looked like people, but they were
Hmm.
just so exaggerated, and the feet were like these pointy things, and there's so much
Right.
energy in his work, and I think that filtered into me for sure. And John Romita Jr. stuff on Punisher definitely was big when I was a
Sure.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
and still actually. There's so many too, like Joe Quesada's stuff on Daredevil. I remember copying a lot when I was
Yeah.
little.
Did a lot
Um,
of 90s. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and actually, I can't believe I forgot to say that. When Preacher came out,
Oh,
um,
sure.
I remember. I think it might have been 94, 92. I was pretty young, but I went to the comic shop and I remember seeing the poster for issue 1 on the
Yeah.
wall, and it was like the him like that with the church burning and everything, the Glenn Fabry painting. And
Hmm.
I didn't know who it was until I was older, but I think that definitely changed things for me because I was so intrigued by
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
And of course, then I found out Steve Dillon's work inside was definitely awesome and
Yeah.
inspiring, and Brian Boland's work too, actually on Judge
Sure.
Dredd. His
Yeah.
shading is amazing.
Love me some
um,
Judge Dredd for sure.
yeah, but if I guess the probably one that I would say had the biggest is probably Frank Miller. Still,
Yeah.
just everything he did, and
Yeah.
all his stuff he did for continuity and like DC and Marvel and his own stuff. It's just,
You can really see, being a big Frank Miller fan myself, you can really
mm,
see his progression. And I don't mean in skill, but in him discovering what kind of
mm,
artist he really wanted to be. Like once he
yeah,
did his first couple of projects, and
yeah, I
then,
love that about him.
they turned him loose on Daredevil and like just came
Yeah,
out of a shell. And then, of
that's
course, out of,
great. Yeah.
we got Ronin. I don't know if you've read Ronin.
Yes,
Uh,
that actually, when I read that in high school, I remember it was that in The Crow. If you look at the artwork, it changes so much from beginning to
right,
end. And I remember having this feeling of, oh, maybe I can do this because I don't have to make it look exactly the same every page or whatever.
right.
It works fine. I just got to write my own story. And then eventually I did, and it really changed things for me. It showed me that a person still growing and learning can do that and is interested in learning and growing. You don't have to just have like a style, you know?
Right.
Um, and that's definitely clear in Ronin, and you can see too in The Crow because he made that thing. It took him 10 years, I think, to make that. So
It was
the
a
beginning
yeah,
artwork, it's so different from the end, and it doesn't matter. It works. It's cool.
yeah. He's done a few interviews. James O'Barr has, and I think he's mentioned multiple times that The Crow was just such a labor of love for him that he,
Yeah.
you know, didn't really know where to take it and how to end it, and
Mm-hmm.
when does it even, do I just stop or
Mm-hmm.
so it's yeah, the growth that he went through during that,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You can definitely see it on the page,
Yeah.
and
I might have a
even
chance to meet him. At this, I'm doing a Comic-Con in my town. Like, it's like 20 minutes away from where I live, and he's apparently going to be there, which I'm not even sure why, but I can't wait to see
yeah,
him.
I don't know that he goes to necessarily a lot of cons
No, that's
anymore.
why I'm shocked he's coming to New Jersey. Like, why does he
I
want to come here?
know I'm fairly certain. I have no real proof other than uh, I think he lives in my area, like in the Dallas Fort Worth
Oh,
area.
really? Oh,
And
cool.
the reason I say that is because year after year on Free Comic Book Day, there's this one shop that he goes to do signings,
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
and then
awesome.
there's another small con that he's been a guest at multiple times. So
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain he lives somewhere in now.
Nice.
Dallas Fort Worth is huge, but
Yeah.
he lives somewhere in the DFW metroplex. So one of these
That's
days I'm
cool.
going to try and catch him
Yeah.
and meet
Tell
him
him
as
I said
well.
hello. Yeah.
I definitely will if I
My
if I
goal
ever
is
can catch up to him.
I'm gonna try to give him a copy of this. Actually, see if
Hey, uh, honestly, that's not a bad plan. You put something like this, a finished product, and it's polished, and you know, it looks great, it presents great, it reads great, and you put that in front of somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. I think you're gonna
yeah,
turn some
yeah.
heads and get some
Uh,
positive.
cool.
Uh,
Thanks, man. I'll let you know. Oh, I forgot to mention also the other big writer for in terms of writing is Grant Morrison and Garth Ennis for me. Those two, in
oh
terms of writing comics. Yeah,
yeah, Garth
his
Ennis,
Animal
everything that he's
Man
ever done.
story. Yeah,
Yeah,
Grant Morrison's Animal Man, and then Garth Ennis is Preacher. Obviously, it's just like that
sure.
changed things for me too. His
I
Punisher
think
too.
there's two things by Ennis that I really really love. The first one, I think, is his first not solo project, but his first big project, The Pro.
I never read
Have you
that
read that?
actually. No.
It's pretty good. It's funny, and it's coarse, and it's got some real world jarring. You read it and you're like, oh God, but it's really good. It's entertaining. And then the other one that I'm just a huge fan. Of course, all of his Punisher stuff is good, but the one that
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
huge fan of is the Midnighter. That
Oh, I haven't
he
read that
started
either.
writing the Midnighter when it was still under Wildstorm before DC took him over.
Oh, cool.
And the Midnighter, it's just not talked about very much, but I love it. It's
Yeah,
really good.
I gotta check it out. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and so I'm a huge Ennis fan, and of course Grant Morrison.
Yeah,
Almost everything he's ever done is
it's
you can't
great.
put it
Yeah.
down once you crack it open. So
No, it was Animal
uh,
Man for me because I remember I was pretty young when I read that too. But when
sure,
the part when you turn the page and then he's looking at you and he says, "I can see
yeah,
you," and I was like, "Wait." And then later I read The Invisibles, and that book like just changed the way I thought about the world too. But there's,
sure,
the first issue, it's like this really cool spy that comes in, he kills all the guys and solves the what he has to
hmm
do, and it's like sleek and everything. And then you're reading the book, and it's a bunch of that kind of stuff for a long time. And I can't remember the issue number, but it's like somewhere in the middle of that big series. It's about this random guy, and I didn't know who he was. And you're following the story of like a guy during a bad day, and he's losing things. He loses his job and his wife, and then he takes this job at this facility as a security guard. And then all of a sudden, it turns into you see the main character in The Invisibles. That beginning scene, he breaks in and he kills this character. He shoots him right in the face, and that's how the book
hmm
ends. And it totally blew my mind of like first what you could do with comics, and second to have empathy for people. It's like,
sure,
you
yeah.
don't know you don't know why someone's there. Like he cared about those security guards in his story, and that's like, I think that's what a writer has to do. They have to care about everybody in that story.
Because it's easy for the reader to see it if you don't.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So maybe
it's
if I
easy
made
to
a new
spot.
follow-up to Eve, I would do it about one of those monsters that he kills.
Hey, listen, there's branches on that tree that I think you could explore, but I'm happy with the product that we got in Eve
Yeah,
and
I
what it
agree.
is. I would hate for, an unimportant, not unimportant, but a non-main character
Yeah,
to
yeah,
tarnish what you've got
yeah,
already.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. And
well,
also, MASH was a big influence on me too for TV. MASH from
yeah,
Seinfeld.
yeah. Hey, listen, I grew up watching MASH reruns because my mom loved it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
MASH
Yeah, same.
and Star Trek. I watched a lot of
Yeah.
those reruns. So, yeah, I get it. I think you know, consciously or subconsciously, I think it shaped a lot of my sense of humor today.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure. Yeah.
And of
Yeah,
course,
same.
I Love Lucy. Throw that in there.
Yeah, I watched that too. Yeah, all the
Watched
time.
watched a lot of those reruns. All that stuff on Nick at Night. I watched all of it all the
Yeah.
time. So.
Same.
Well, we're coming up on an hour here, so
Oh wow.
we can. Yeah, I know it goes fast when you're having fun.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so I wanna plug some things for you. I know I kind of did about halfway through the show, but in the description again, if this is your first time, discovering John, um, I linked in the description below. He's got his Instagram link. Find him on Instagram. Um, and then his website's there. And then go ahead, and I know we've kind of talked about your upcoming projects, but plug some things that you got coming up.
Sure. Thanks.
For instance, what you just posted today on your website. Go ahead and plug that because I'd love for people to know about it.
Yeah, so I just started selling the original pages to Eve. So I just put the first 10 up on my website. I'm going to try to do like either 10 a month or 10 a week just to make it more manageable for me since I'm packing and shipping myself.
Sure.
So the first 10 went up now, and it's $250 for a page of the book for all of them, unless it's a double spread because I don't want to lose just one of those. Yep. So that'll be combined. But
smart, good call.
The book. The book itself is up on there, and if you want to get it remarked, I'll remark all of them. But if you want to get a commission as well, a smaller drawing of your own choice, it's $60 for that. I wanted to make it a cheaper kind of special sale, so you could do that.
While you're talking, I'm gonna show this. So
thanks.
This is the remark that he did on the copy that I picked up, and this is, I mean. Am I wrong here? Is this a mixture of like whiteout and yeah? I mean, he just mixed media here.
I painted it with the whiteout and then built on top and just keep going. It's really fun.
It's just awesome.
I felt bad though. I cut out all the names of the people that helped me publish the book.
That's you know what? That's okay because I can find that information somewhere else, but I can only look at this inside my book. So
that's true. I always love when you go to a comic show. Like sometimes I would buy an original piece of art or see it, and I was a little disappointed because like, oh, it just looks like it does in the book. There's no texture. And being a painter, I really look for that. But then I saw Frank Miller's stuff in person once. They had a few at Comic-Con, and it's not like that. You can see like the whiteouts just bleeding over the thing, and I was like, this is cool. So my pages look like that. They like the kitchen sink got thrown out.
Yeah,
because I wanted to
you know what
on
though?
the wall too. Yeah,
I'm with you though, because when you can see that, and not that I'm advocating you should put your hands all over original piece of art, but when it's tactile, like you can feel it and you can see it, like there's just there's more emotion in it, there's more feeling in that piece.
Definitely, yeah.
So if you don't have a copy of Eve, anybody watching this, you don't have a copy of Eve, and you're thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. I'll make the decision for you. Go pick it up. Go pick it up from his website because he will remark it for you. You could add a commission to it. And you said what size was that for the 60?
So I was doing 9x12, but I ran out of 9x12 paper, so you'll get an 11x14, which is pretty much it's a lot bigger.
Yeah. So now you're for the same price, you're getting more paper, more art. So
it's easier than cutting paper. I'll just draw a bigger one for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So TBD on Deadly Dozen, and
Yeah.
Crawler as well.
Yep. And I also have on Amazon. I have and you can get it from me as well. If it's just like a sketchbook of basically some of my old pinups that I was doing, all from when I started the comics journey up to about Eve, and then I was gonna do a volume 2 after that. So I have
That's
that
very
as well.
cool.
Yeah, thanks. That's up on the
That's very
site
cool.
and Amazon. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, all that said, John, I want to thank you again for hopping on here with me and giving me an opportunity to grill you a little bit. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Same, yeah, it was fun, man. Thanks for having me.
Everyone, please go check out John. If we don't support our indie artists and creators, they're going to start disappearing, and nobody wants that, especially when they're turning out awesome stuff like John is. So, thank you for stopping by. Check John out. Check me out on Instagram. I've got some more stuff in the works coming up on my YouTube channel. I'm getting back into things. So appreciate everybody's patience on that. Other than that, everybody have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, take care. Thanks again.